Hello again, everybody. This is Joe Larson, and you're watching the 505 on Racing Show with my good buddy Chuck Schultz. Welcome.
Welcome.
Tonight we're going to talk about a farewell, a good farewell though. DW, Darrell Waltrip, hung up his mic.
Put a lot of time in.
Yeah, 19 years. We're going to talk about that. We got some results out of Sonoma, California with the Gander Outdoor Series, as well as the Monster Energy Cup, and some touring news too for the K&N Pro Series West. And we're going to talk about some of the things that are going in the K&N Pro Series East as well when we come back.
Inravio.com.
Welcome back. Darrell Waltrip did his last race.
Unbelievable. I mean, he's been doing this forever.
19 years of working with Mike Joy and Larry McReynolds in the booth. And
that's a long time, 19 years. I remember when he raced.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's never been a NASCAR in my lifetime without DW, I don't think. I mean, between racing and talking.
His wife wrote him a this is his wife Stevie and DW. His wife wrote him a heartfelt letter. And basically she said to him, through 50 years of racing and 50 years of marriage,
wow,
that it's been all good.
So he's been married as long as he's been racing.
Yeah. It's funny the story that she talked about when they met. They met in high school. She was too young to date him, so her parents were not too thrilled with that.
The whole Southern thing.
Oh yeah, she was a little young, and he was one of those rebel boys that drove street cars up and down the avenue being chased by the police.
He was a whippersnapper.
Oh yeah, and they met, Darrell and Stevie, they met when, of course now she's in high school, when he drove his Chevelle with a 396 souped up motor that he skidded along her front lawn with blue lights behind him, and they walked him away in handcuffs. Her parents weren't thrilled. They were not thrilled with that.
So he was like the first Duke of Hazzard, because I can't picture him doing rum running. Come on.
No.
He wasn't moonshining, right?
No.
I don't think.
He started racing in 1972 in the Cup Series. He's a three-time champion.
Did you see 1917?
72. Marty Hines raced in 1917.
Exactly.
So, 50 years, three-time Cup champion. He began in 72. And he's known in the broadcast booth for his boogity, boogity, booty, let's go racing, boys. Now, a lot of people don't like that he did that.
Really?
A lot of people, you look in social media, a lot of people are saying things, and they weren't happy about that.
Really?
Oh, they can't wait for him to go. But it's coming from people who probably never announced a race in their life. They're just these, I call them, fence grabbers. They're going to tell everybody how it should be done. And if they were so intelligent on how it should be done, they'd be doing it themselves.
Sure.
It's like the race car, driver there, the fan is against the fence. He's like holding on, like watching. Oh, why did he do that? Oh, he shouldn't have done it. He should have did this, that, and the other thing. They never even sat in a race car, even when the pits are open at the end of the races. But that's the broadcast team with Mike Joy, Darrell Waltrip, of course, Larry McReynolds, and Jeff Gordon, a multi-time Cup champion, in the booth with him now. So it was a heartfelt, gut-wrenching farewell. All the teams, all had something to say about DW. And I know in his racing days, he was very bold and outspoken. He put it on the line. Even when he was racing his local racetrack, he did a racing show on the radio, and would kind of bad talk his competitors on the radio. It was local radio, and then he got into the big level, and he would be known to bang heads with Bill France Jr. because this is how it should be.
Well, because he talks so much stuff, these call him Jaws, right?
Yeah, exactly. So old DW, and there's some great announcers out there over the years that I've had the privilege to listen to and work with. And is, Ben Dodge, when he was doing the Riverside Park up in Massachusetts, then he went down to Stafford and to Thompson Motorsports Park in Connecticut. The man announces a race. You could close your eyes and
see what's going on.
See what's going on. Even Bob Fine on Long Island, that guy can make time trials exciting.
He does a good job, I think.
He does.
I must say.
Does. There's a few. There's the gentleman, Matt, I can't remember his last name. He's also a good announcer up at the Thompson Motorsports Park. And just there's so many that I've listened to over the years. Earl Sonny Granger at Ice Up Speedway when I was a kid. Now, that's 50 years ago, and I still remember him announcing at Ice Up Speedway when I was a kid. And I can remember he used to tell people to sit in the top rows of the bleachers first, because the place would always look full. And Larry Mendelson, the same thing, sit at the top. It may always look good.
From the street?
Yeah, it'd be, oh, it's full, oh, let's go there, what's going on? Announcing's not easy. I've had the opportunity on occasion to announce at a racetrack. I did it at the Orange County Fair track up in Middletown, New York. The legendary House of Pain, as they called it. And the hardest thing to do was to look at the starting lineup and have to know from, like...
Oh, yeah. You got to know right away.
Oh, yeah.
You got to know those cars like the back of your hand. Like you would know, the Monster Cup guys.
Exactly.
You'd have to know everybody in every field. And you know what? Those divisions are changing. New guys are coming in, new guys are going out.
Oh, yeah.
You got to do your homework.
Oh, without a doubt.
And then who's got a birthday today and whose uncle is and, you got to fill in while they're doing 100 laps worth of caution there for, sweeping the track.
I did a couple of, in the announcer's booth that Mountain Speedway that keeps changing their name all the time. And where else? There was another one upstate New York that I also did some announcing with. And it was only because I was there as part of Inravio.
And part of the crew.
Remember when I used to wear the black hat?
And they used to stick a mic in front of you.
Exactly. I'd be sitting, I'd be the only guy there with a black hat. Everybody's there with a wool hat or a baseball cap. And, oh, there we got Joe from 505 Mile. And I wave, hey, how you doing? Hey, Joe, come on up today. And I go up and they hand me the mic. And I couldn't just say, and the yellow car just passed the red car and then turned to, I had to know. So. And now
Boy, what do you think about those ranges?
Yeah, really. But I wasn't a fan of DW, but I wasn't not a fan either. The man was hired to do a job. He did the job.
Yeah, I thought he did a good job. I mean, it wasn't like, he was the only guy. I thought everybody contributed a lot.
Without a doubt.
They all have a part to play, and it's like, it's one of those things when you try to put together a list of a top 100 anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Somebody gets left out because there's always something that they bring to the table.
Yes.
He brought a lot of emotion to the table.
He did, without a fact.
A lot of personality and a lot of emotion, which a lot of the other people, I mean, come on, he's calling the race, and not to bring this up, but I'll never forget him calling the race, and his brother wins the race, but he's concerned about Dale Earnhardt hitting the wall.
Right, right. And you saw the emotion. There were tears in his eyes.
Yeah.
And he's looking at the turn. I hope he's all right. Oh, Mikey, good job, Mikey. I hope he's all right. And they kept the camera on him because of the emotion.
Because there's a personality there.
Exactly.
It's not just a guy who's calling a race, oh, it looks like the 3 cars into the wall. What a shame.
Yeah,
I mean, it was,
Yeah, that was a tough day, and I was at that race, so it was.
There's a lot more personality, there's a lot more emotion. Hope he's okay. We're supposed to go fishing on Sunday.
Yeah. But that's how. That was in 2001. That was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago.
And he was kind of still new
And he
to
was
that.
still doing that.
And it was hard for him not to cheer for his brother.
That was only a couple years in.
Yeah, not it. Just that's his brother.
Well, they let him call the end of the race because his brother was going to win.
Yeah.
So
that wasn't by that just happened to happen.
That just happened to happen. Yeah.
But it's when you look at a guy like Darrell Waltrip, he brought something to the table that Mike Joy and Larry Mack could not bring to the table. Was he sat in the driver's seat. He drove
Very
the
true.
cars. He understood the emotion. He understood.
Well, that's
what a
where
record
some of the other guys, Jeff Gordon and so forth, are coming from.
Yeah,
now.
Jeff.
But still, it's not the same.
It's not the same.
Not the same.
And DW goes back to an era. He goes back to what they call the modern era of NASCAR when Winston Cup came aboard in 1972.
The modern era?
That's what they call the modern era.
Really? What do they call
1972.
now?
Now they call now is, you don't want to know what they call
Today's
now.
era?
Yeah, the now era.
The mistake era?
When you think of all the things that gone on in the last, I'm going to call it the Brian France era.
Okay. Well, that's
We'll just,
enough said.
The Brian France era where the there was more rule changes in a single year than had been in like the last 5, and building all these new cars. And he was just listening to, and I'm going to say the wrong people, because you don't, how do I put it? You don't listen to people who don't have to live with the results. And he was listening to non-racers. He was listening to pencil pushers, bean counters, forgetting what his father and grandfather built up.
Well,
In my opinion. I could be wrong.
I think you're right. But, I think some of that was driven by everything that happened in his tenure, too.
Yeah.
I can't really, the whole safety issues and the car of tomorrow, they started all of that fiasco.
Yes, they did.
You know what I mean? And so that didn't really help.
No, it didn't. And that's a problem. When you look back, that's such a big problem.
Yeah.
That things were changed that maybe didn't need to be changed. Things were changed for the wrong reasons. It was about, I don't know, making money for NASCAR. And, NASCAR is an entity. It's a traded, stock. They got to make money. But you needed a guy at the helm who walked into the garage area, who talked to the owners, who talked to the drivers, and who also talked to the fans. And the package that was being put out was not that good. And DW, he wasn't the savior, so to speak. He did help during the 70s and 80s, He was the character that was missing.
He was.
He was the character.
The winning, the dancing in victory lane,
yeah.
and the throwing the helmet.
Yeah.
Hence the Jaws part.
Yes.
He was always talking.
Yes. And Larry McReynolds, who's very serious and very, knowledgeable, was Dale Earnhardt's crew chief for a number of years when he was at Goodwrench. And then he moved into the booth himself. And there's a guy that also from the inside, but his, I guess, contribution to that team was the technical side, because then they'd have the peel-away car and show you what this does and that does.
He's the Uber crew chief. Really.
Yeah.
Either it's him or who are you going to get? Ray Everham, Chad Knaus, maybe for the newer people. But,
Right.
He was, Larry's a knowledgeable guy. He's really got it down.
Oh, without a doubt.
So, he's like light years above everybody else.
And Mike Joy, a lot of people don't realize that Mike Joy started his announcing career at the Stafford Motor Speedway up in Stafford Springs, Connecticut. He was the weekly track announcer. And I've had spent a lot of time with Mike Joy, and it's kind of funny. We did an awards banquet at Mohegan Sun for the NASCAR Wheeler Modified Series way back when, maybe, I'm thinking maybe 15 years ago. We did a couple of them. And I can remember him talking to me the first time we were at a dress rehearsal. We had to do like a dress rehearsal because it was being on TV. So we had to do a dress rehearsal.
Mike Joy.
And the whole banquet was then presentation center. It was, dress rehearsal, then scripted. And I can remember sitting there and he said to me, "All right, kid, don't be nervous. It's all on the teleprompter." And the teleprompter was a clear piece of glass, it looked like, from the audience.
Yeah.
But the words were like, and to make sure I went like this, they would stop rolling here and start rolling there. And then he's explaining this to me. But I kind of already knew that. So I just went, all right, no, thanks. No, thanks for your advice. Okay. So they told me I had, like, for this one thing that I had to say at this point, you have 45 seconds, not 46, not 44.
45 seconds. That's what they allow.
So, okay, I get
It's
up there.
because it's televised. They can't run long.
So-
they bring the hook out.
I do 45 seconds, boom, done. I sit down, he goes,
Get off.
"You've done this before." I said, "No, I didn't. Never done that." And then I'm thinking, like, when we had a control room person, when we used to do those little snippet commercials, next week, blah, 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 and I had like so many seconds to do it.
Right.
And I'd stay here half the night with that guy.
And go to the Paramount. They got some shows over there.
Yeah.
They're pretty good.
So,
I saw a show once over there. It was pretty good.
yeah, pretty good.
They
So
play,
now,
the first song they played was
So we go to the
after a
second
half
year.
hour. Then the third song they played was pretty good too.
So we go now, it's the second year. So Mike, Joy, and I were sitting there waiting for our turn. And so, all right, Mike, you got yours, right? You good? Yeah, I'm good. All right, Joe, you're up. Mike, Joy goes, no, he's good too. And that was the end of it. I never had to do another dress rehearsal. It was kind of weird.
Wow.
So, but announcing's not easy.
Yeah, remembering all of the facts and stuff, I could imagine. Kudos to hands, to those guys, boy, I'll tell you, they really put some time and effort into that.
They do, and they have to do their homework, and they have to really, like I said, know what they're talking about. Because nothing worse than a race fan who thinks they know everything.
Well, don't they always?
Yeah, always. And
I mean,
and
we all know everything, don't we?
Yeah,
Isn't that part of what we do?
They go on their Facebook page or they go into Google and they do these searches, and they're like, okay, we could do this. We got this. Oh, he's wrong. That's not how it went.
Yeah.
Come on, these people are talking right off the top. And so and DW will be missed, and I'm sure he'll be around.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be around.
I'm sure he'll be around. I'm sure he'll do the right thing, and he'll show his face.
He'll start driving go-karts, huh?
Yeah. Well, it's when you think about the time and effort that's put into, they're there the whole weekend too.
That's it's a lot of work for them.
And flying all over the country. And,
That's a lot of work for them.
and I know his wife Stevie. Now that the kids are grown and the grandchildren kick in, and she travels with him. And I'll tell you what, when you have a wife that likes
what you do,
your hobbies, it makes it so much better. Even though that's what he did for a living. I mean, did he need to do that? I don't think so. I think he was pretty well off.
Could you see him in an office job?
No. He'd be fired.
You know what they're going to do. You know what they're going to do, right? I know exactly what they're going to do, right?
He'd be fired.
They're going to next year, they're going to be like, so where's DW?
Right.
He's going to be at a Kentucky Fried Chicken or something. They're going to get him with the hat on behind the counter. Would you like fries with that? Come on. Am I wrong? Mark my words. Put it down.
Yeah.
Right? They're going to do something. They're going to spoof on him.
One of my favorite Dow Waltrip stories, when he was driving for Junior Johnson, and he was, he had a nice little salary, nothing spectacular, and he kept asking Junior Johnson, what if I win races? What if I win races? What if I win races? What if I win the championship? And Junior Johnson, in his slow Southern drawl, says, we might be having a different kind of chat if you don't win races. And DW just, Junior Johnson, the softest speaking guy in racing, got DW to zip it up.
To shut up.
Think about that. Think about you go to work and you think you say something to your boss. Now, what if we get this contract? What if we get this contract? What are you going to do for me? And your boss says, you might want to worry about what's going to happen to you if we don't get this contract. Your whole mindset is going to be like different.
You got to look at it differently.
Yeah.
You're not getting paid just to go around in circles.
Right.
You're getting paid to win races.
To win races.
Yeah.
And if you don't win races, because that's why we're doing this.
Then we have a different conversation to talk about.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
But I tell you what, like I said, I didn't dislike him. I wasn't a big fan of his. Sometimes I'd rather turn the sound off the TV and listen to the race broadcast because it's a little different for some reason. I used to do that with baseball too, with the Yankees. I'd rather listen to Phil Rizzuto do the Yankee game than listen to like NBC Sports or somebody, It's just how I was. And then, I'm kind of weird. What can I tell you?
Maybe one day you'll be able to pick your announcer.
Maybe.
You just go through and scroll through announcers and pick one.
Yeah. You never know.
Never know.
I think about like what we do here, and everybody thinks we just show up and do this.
That's all we do.
Yeah, that's all we do. They don't realize what it takes. They don't realize the time that's put in, the money that it costs. But it's
nope.
just, I remember.
I mean, typically for a 1 hour show, it's 3 hours of preparation.
Oh, without doubt.
And that's if it's just a basic show.
Yeah, and that's. I mean, a lot of this stuff is easy to get, but you still have to get it. Nobody's sending me emails. Oh, talk about. Well, they do. I still get. Like I should go videotape this guy and go talk to that guy, but
talk about the drill teams. Do you get that? Just a question.
Yeah, but it's one of those things, and I enjoy what we do, and because when it stops being fun, you do something else, and so far I'm not at that point. And we're still having fun.
That's good. We're still yucking it up, but we got to take a break.
We got to take a break. We're like way past that. But I want to wish Dow Waltrip a lot of luck in his.
That's why I'm wearing my
You know,
glow-in-the-dark shirt here.
you are glowing.
For DW.
You are glowing.
I know.
I wore my pink
might be
shirt. I don't know
pregnant. Who knows?
why.
I'm
I wore
glowing.
pink. Does it look pink on TV? I don't know.
Doesn't look pink in real life either, but I'm. I got
Anyway,
like
when we
4
come
foot
back,
4 foot of glasses here. So.
we're going to talk about Sonoma, the results at Sonoma
Sonoma.
out in California, the road course, the reconfigured, I should say, road course, when we come back.
Hey,
we're
what's
set it
oh,
up.
I said was gonna say what's up for some reason. Hey, we're set it up, and you're watching the Inravio TV network.
Village Music Shop of Mastic. 1-800-HEY-DUDE, your full-service store with personalized attention, school band instrument rentals and sales, music instruction on all instruments for all styles and age groups, for guitars, drums, amplifiers, PA systems, and accessories. It's Village Music Shop, 1495 Montauk Highway in Mastic. Call 1-800-HEY-DUDE or go to villagemusicshop.com.
Hi there, this is Buddy from Less Than Jake, and you are listening to Inravio TV. You're probably watching it too.
The world of advertising has changed. Radio, TV, and newspaper revenues have declined drastically. Why? Because businesses have realized that advertising return on investment isn't what it used to be. So what can we do about it? Well, that's easy. Advertise online. Own a local restaurant, real estate agency, or even a national retail chain? Whatever your business, Inravio can get your message out there, and we can do it at a fraction of the cost. Call today and see the difference for yourself. This isn't TV. This isn't radio. This is Inravio.com.
Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back.
Sonoma. They reconfigured the course, made it a little bit bigger. And I didn't watch all the race, but I watched enough of it to say it was kind of interesting. I'm not a fan of road racing.
Yeah.
It's tough to watch. I've worked road courses with NASCAR. I worked Lime Rock with the K&N Pro Series and the Modifieds. I've worked Watkins Glen with the Modifieds and the Cup Series, and it's just so massive that you can't see the whole track. So you have people everywhere.
At every corner, yeah.
You know,
We've worked it
everywhere.
before, yeah. I've worked road courses as well, and it's exactly what it is. They got people at every corner because you can't really see.
Yeah, you can't.
Now, watching it from TV, personally, it's a TV nightmare for the crew.
Right.
But personally, I think that I like it.
Yeah.
And I'm not really a road course guy, but I find it a little more interesting than just the oval track.
Yeah,
It's definitely a change of pace.
the first time I worked a road course, it was Lime Rock for the K&N Pro Series East, which at the time was I believe it was called the Camping World Series. It was in between when they had no sponsors, or the Camping World Truck Series threw some money into it. And I get there, and you look at the assignment, and there's a list with all the jobs and the name, of your name. And so what was it? I'm looking at mine, and it said Joe Larson.
Joe Lawson, bathrooms.
Yeah, it said TV booth. TV booth. What is that? So the guy goes, well, you get to watch the race on TV. One of the other officials. I said, I gotta, because I'm still kind of new to that group, so they were still were breaking me in, putting
Busting your chops.
Oh yeah, putting yellow tape on my butt, because I'm a rookie in my fives. So I go into I kid you not.
That's pretty funny.
I kid you not.
I gotta say, that's pretty funny.
So here I am. I go into the series director, who at the time was a guy named Lee Roy. I thought that was
Leroy.
That was his name, Lee Roy. So he goes, "Oh, Joe, good you're here.
That's just as funny.
I got you in the TV booth." Okay, so where might that be? There's a trailer in the parking lot.
No.
I kid you not. Yeah, there's a trailer in the parking lot. It has a TV camera. We have a TV camera on every corner, and matched up to a screen inside. So you're going to be sitting in a chair watching all 9 or 11 TV
Turns.
screens. And there's a big screen TV of what's being broadcast on TV.
Okay.
Now, in the meantime, I just worked Stafford 2 full days in a row and into the night the 2 days before that. And when I asked, how do you get to Lime Rock from Stafford, everybody told me you can't get there from here. And I thought they were breaking my shoes. You could not get to Lime Rock from Stafford. You either had to go up to Massachusetts, head west, and come back down, or head back to the I-95, head west, and head back up. That was it. It took forever. On a map, it looked like a real straight, whoop, you're there.
So you call for helicopter
Oh, yeah.
support.
Going up a road that's 30 miles an hour on a Sunday with church. So anyway, I get there. It's in the mid-90s, the 2 days at Stafford, and here we are at Lime Rock, mid-90s. They put me in this trailer.
Tell me there was no air conditioning.
Oh, no, there was. In a nice reclining type chair with air conditioning. Now, you know what happens.
And you're new to this series?
It's like my second
Now,
time.
wait a minute. Let me wait a minute. This is good. So you're breaking stuff now.
Oh, man, I just dropped my...
All right. So now let me get this straight. So now you wake up out of this trailer after you fell asleep, and you're back at Stafford.
I went to Stafford the 2 days before.
No. I mean, they hooked the trailer up to a truck and took you to Stafford.
Oh, no.
And left you there in the parking lot.
No. So I'm in the middle. Now, the director and his crew is behind. They're behind. So they're calling the shots, like camera 3, camera 11 here. And I'm
Right.
watching. I'm
For the
watching all the
broadcast.
others. Yeah, I'm watching all the others. And I'm like,
Well, that's what we do here. Multiple cameras, one for the
yeah.
broadcast.
And I'm like, so now I go to stand up, to stretch. And I'm like, sit down. Oh, sit down. I'm like,
Because you're in the way.
and I'm falling asleep. All right, and my they didn't say Joe, and they just said, I had a number. So, 32, the tower to 32, we're getting reports of debris and turn, whatever, 6. Oh, yeah.
And you're supposed to look and see what it is.
Tower, it's good. And I wait a little bit. Oh, no, I see the debris. I'm falling asleep. I'm falling asleep because you know how it is to watch a race on TV in a hot day with air conditioning. So now I figured,
In a soft chair.
Yeah, let me go get a drink of water so I could pour it on myself. So I go to the girl goes, where you going? I said, I need a water. I'll get it. So she goes and gets it. And I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like holding my head up. I'm falling asleep, literally falling asleep. Because that's what happens when we watch races at home in a comfortable reclining chair. So, But they called me back, so I guess I didn't do bad.
But that was the first time you were at that series?
That's the first time I did that track. I had worked Thompson with them a couple times.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I had a good time with them. Best bunch of guys I ever worked with. Best bunch of guys. Because everybody worked together. There were no egos.
Nice.
No egos. And many of them are no longer with NASCAR for whatever reason. You know, they moved on, died, whatever. And literally a couple of the guys passed away. But it was guys that they knew their job and they did it well. And but road courses are interesting. So anyway, we got results out of Sonoma. I guess we'll go with whatever one you want to bring up. We'll go look at that. Here we go. The Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series. Martin Truex Jr. was the winner, followed by Kyle Busch. Ryan Blaney was third. Matt DiBenedetto was fourth. Denny Hamlin was fifth. Kevin Harvick sixth. Ryan Newman seventh. Eric Jones eighth. Eric Almirola ninth. And Kyle Larson rounded out the top 10. One of those tough places. One of those tough places to run. And there's a lot of bumping and grinding.
Not a lot of passing.
No, not if you passed, you had to push them out of the way. You know, you literally had
Yeah,
to
that's
push
one
them
of
out
the
of
only
way.
problems I find with the road courses. It's follow me, you know.
Yeah,
It's like normally it's that hairpin where they can turn.
right.
You know what I mean? It's really they gotta push somebody out of the way to get in there.
Yeah, it's.
They
And I can remember
they gotta get on the inside.
some of the events they had there was beating and banging on that last race, that last lap, just to get another position. And some of the wins there were legendary. You know, Tony Stewart beating and banging people out of the way, you know, for that win. But it was all
That's what you
good.
got to do to make it happen, though. There.
Exactly.
That's tough.
Exactly.
And I wonder if they could even build anything into those tracks, just you know, like a passing area, other than the straightaway. But you still got to beat somebody down the straightaway.
Right, you do. You do.
You know,
have
and
to
that's
beat
just
somebody
all
on the straightaway.
horsepower, and you know, the
Yeah.
cars are so evenly matched. How do you make that happen?
It's
hard.
tough. And they are evenly matched for the
Oh
most part.
yeah. Well, it's like we talked about, right? It's that whole, you know, like the Race of Champions
Right.
cars. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know that
The IROCs.
the Iraq cars were, and the cars had numbers on them, and the car that
And they had different colors.
Different
and if they
colors.
weren't, you wouldn't know.
no, and then what happened is
They all ran exactly the same way.
if somebody won, then that car went to the back, and they just inverted the field for the next race, wherever that might be.
So that the guy in the back could get a chance to lead.
Exactly.
And he would lead and they'd follow each other.
It was a parade.
It was
But
a parade.
I can remember one of those races, and I don't remember who the second driver was, but Dale Earnhardt Sr., the late Dale Earnhardt, he was in that event, and he got taken out. And when the race ended, all the cars came down pit road, and he's walking over to the guy that took him out. Now everybody's, the cameras are
They're
following
expecting
everything. They're
things.
expecting a punch in the head, something.
Yeah,
bro.
you know.
Dale went over there, and
He was having a
and he
blast.
wished his hair up, and then he went like that. I'll get you next time, type of thing.
Yeah.
Because that's how he was. He wasn't like everybody thought. He wasn't a mean old
When he
guy
was younger, he was.
when he was younger. Well, that's how he fed his family, and he wasn't making a lot of money in the beginning.
It was a big deal, yeah.
It's a big deal. We have more results coming out from that way, coming up in a sec. Yes, again, the Outdoor Truck Series. Ross Chaston was the winner there. Todd Gilliland was second. Stuart Friesen third. Chandler Smith was fourth. Brett Moffitt fifth. Grant Enfinger sixth. Sheldon Creed seventh. Ben Rhodes eighth. Matt Crafton was ninth. And Myatt Snyder rounded out the top 10 there. So some good action in the truck race as well. The K&M Pro Series West was at Sonoma. I didn't know that until like on the way here, listen to NASCAR on Sirius. But what we have there is the K&M Pro Series West. And I'm going to talk about this a little bit. Noah Gragson was the winner there, followed by Daniel Hemrick. Austin Dillon third, Cole Custer fourth, David Mayhew fifth, Will Rogers sixth, Jim Engelbert seventh, Haley Deegan eighth, Dave Smith ninth, and Trevor Huddleston rounding out the top 10. Help me to understand why Noah Gragson, Daniel Hemrick, Austin Dillon, Cole Custer, why were those guys in that race? They're like top level guys. Do they really need to go down to the K&N level and take points of money away from those guys?
They're doing what the Cup guys are doing to them.
I'm like, come on.
I'm right or wrong?
I guess. But here's a touring series, and I guess it's like when Ryan Newman runs the modifieds at New Hampshire. Okay, I get it, but the K&M Pro Series East and West is in trouble. They're in trouble with car counts and whatnot, and we're going to talk about that in the next segment. But the K&M Pro Series is in trouble, and maybe that was something that NASCAR did and said, "Hey guys, listen, we need some extra cars here. We need some people."
All right, put some people in the seats.
Let's put some people in the seats.
I can understand that.
All right.
I can see that happening.
So we're going to take a break, and we come back. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the problems facing the K&N Pro Series East and West when we come back.
Hi, I'm Remington.
I'm Emerson.
And I'm Sebastian.
We're Palais Royale, and you're watching Inravio TV.
There we go.
The world of advertising has changed. Radio, TV, and newspaper revenues have declined drastically. Why? Because businesses have realized that advertising return on investment isn't what it used to be. So what can we do about it? Well, that's easy. Advertise online. Own a local restaurant, real estate agency, or even a national retail chain? Whatever your business, Inravio can get your message out there, and we can do it at a fraction of the cost. Call today and see the difference for yourself. This isn't TV. This isn't radio. This is Inravio.com.
Hey, this is Chris Less Jake, and if Inravio.com spots you at an event wearing this bracelet, they will give you $100.
Village Music Shop of Mastic. 1-800-HEY-DUDE, your full-service store with personalized attention, school band instrument rentals and sales, music instruction on all instruments for all styles and age groups, for guitars, drums, amplifiers, PA systems, and accessories. It's Village Music Shop, 1495 Montauk Highway in Mastic. Call 1-800-HEY-DUDE or go to villagemusicshop.com.
Hi, this is Mike Jarecki from My Race News, and you're watching the Inravio TV network.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Fix my hearing.
Moving right along.
Yeah. Well, I was getting all excited there. I was moving.
That's all right. Hey, that's what it's all about, right?
Anyway,
You're
K&M Pro
supposed to get
Series.
excited.
K&M Pro Series, in my opinion, and I'm not being negative, is in trouble. The race at the Thompson Motorsports Park was canceled due to lack of entries.
Really?
Yes. And looking at the K&M Pro Series standings, they've run 5 events in the K&M Pro Series East. Only 9 teams have competed in all 5 events. There's 2 or 3 that competed in 4. All the rest is like 2, 3, 1.
Well, this whole thing's a vicious cycle, and that's we kind of figured all of that out already. But the vicious cycle, and we talked about it with the whole Brian France thing, is that if you're not making your drivers happy, of course they're not coming to the track, but they're not going to come to the track if they don't have sponsors. You don't have people in the seats that are going to watch these cars go round and around, or you don't have real good TV coverage. It's going to be hard to sell a sponsor.
Right.
And it's the same conversation we kind of had. This is, this is not like this is the first time to the rodeo, but it's the same conversation we have at these racetracks. When you're at a point where, you've got as many people in the seats as you possibly can. You're maxed out. There's nothing else you can do.
Right.
You can only toss so many hot dogs and so many hamburgers on the grill. You know, so what it boils down to is you have to live with what you got.
Right.
You know, you can't be the bean counter and start cutting corners here and doing this and doing that and trying to bring in the more money and the dollars and the, all right, hot dogs are $35 a piece for a hot dog. You can't do that.
Right.
You know, so unfortunately, you got what you got.
Right.
You know, and then you start putting seats all over the place, which is great if you could fill them up. But you got to get, you know, if you don't get the people watching these cars, buying these products, then these teams aren't going to be able to get sponsorship.
No, they're not.
And a lot of these teams are week to week with sponsors. Guy comes on for 1 week, he comes on for 2 weeks. It's not like he's got a UPS on the side of the car or a
Exactly.
FedEx or somebody
Right.
who's dropping them, you know, $12 million for the season. You know, it's just not happening. You know, those are few and far between. And, you know, some of those that you see on the cars, even in the Cup Series, are gimmies.
Right.
They're not even like, all right, we'll give you a little bit payback, because you know what? They'd rather have a UPS on the car than nobody. You know what I mean? Because ultimately, it's a lot easier to try to sell a car when people think UPS is with you
Right.
than it is to not.
Yeah. And the other problem, and talking to many a race promoter, and I'm talking from like the Martinsvilles and the Staffords and the Riverheads and the Thompsons, you know, like Don Honig, when he was running Thompson, it was called Thompson Speedway back then. The man was in that business forever. And I remember him saying to me that, you know, and it's kind of funny, and I didn't understand what he was saying. He had what appeared to be a full house. And I'm sitting on the golf cart with him, and I said, hey, Mr. Honig, I said, wow, got a nice crowd today for this run. You know, we're coming down to the last couple of races. And he goes like this, he goes, I lost about 300,000 today. You lost 300,000? Place is packed. There's a lot of coats, a lot of blankets. They take up seats, they take up spaces. And I thought I was going to make 2.6 million this weekend. I only made 2.3. So in his head, he lost 300,000.
Right.
And then he said to me, the purses have to be covered by the back gate. If the back gate isn't covering the purses, that means I got to dip into my tickets
To cover
pay-
the purses.
to cover the purses.
Which now hits everything else on the expenses.
Right. It's a residual effect at this point.
Oh, yeah. Because
And I remember Barbara and Jim Cromedy, when they were running Riverhead, they had the same discussion with me. We need to make this at the back gate because we need to make everything that's in the stands and in the concessions the gravy. If we don't cover the purses in the back gate, we had a bad night. And I didn't understand that at first. And then I realized especially in some promoters, and I'm not going to give anybody's secrets away, but there's separate corporations for their racetrack. The concessions might be one corporation. The tickets are another corporation. The pit area is that corporation.
Right. So it's got to make itself.
Exactly. I mean, they might be DBAs, but they're still separate corporations. So, you know, you can't give, well, you can. You know, the concession stand could loan the pit area money to pay the purses, I'm sure. I mean, I don't know. And the other thing is, you have a short window, especially here in the Northeast, to race. So what happens is, you still are taxed based on a 12-month season, or 12 months out of the year.
Oh, yeah. That
You're
stuff
still-
doesn't go away,
yeah.
even if it's seasonal.
Yeah, you're paying your insurance from January 1st to December 31st.
You know, that's why I always got a kick out of people like, oh, well, look at this bar, man. It's packed. I'm like, yeah. But it's summers at Dune Road in the Hamptons.
Right.
They're packed for what, 3 months maybe out of the year? That's it. Who else is coming out here when the wind's blowing through here?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And did you ever look at the walls in those places? There's no heat.
There's no heat. No.
There's no air conditioning.
No.
They just open up all the windows, which are basically the whole wall of the place, and that's it. That's your bar.
That's your bar.
It's nothing more than a shed, a big shed on the
Yeah.
beach. You know, and so if they don't make money hand over fist, yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
they got to get through the whole 12 months.
And a rain out destroys a racetrack, you know, for their income and what they're looking at. You know, because you still have to pay your people that showed up, you know, your staff. You still have to pay, you know, I'm sure you take your insurance and divide it up on X number of weeks and say, I got to pay this much per week for my insurance. You know, a tour race comes to a local track like a Monadnock, a small track, a Monadnock, a Riverhead. There's not enough seats in the house to pay a big purse. So they need that back gate. I can remember nights where, you know, when I was running the Riverhead Raceway, I'd be called in and said, Joe, can we pay you next week? And I wasn't making like thousands of dollars. Can we pay you next week? We're having trouble meeting the purse. And that was the last track in NASCAR under the weekly racing series that didn't have to have the purse money in NASCAR's bank 48 hours prior to the event. Because every other track paid, you signed for it, boom, a check was mailed to you from NASCAR Awards. Every other track except Riverhead, you got an envelope with cash. Envelope with cash. Now, when it was paying $6,000 to win and, you know, $1,500 to take the green, that was pretty darn good. But now it's not. It's not. It's just a little bit better than a weekly purse. And yeah, there's people out there, you know, lap money, this money, that money, the other money, and throwing
It
at
trickles
the
in
drivers.
here or there, yeah.
But the racetrack's still paying almost. And maybe I shouldn't say it because I don't know what the weekly.
You don't know
feature-
what kind of deal.
But I know what the modifieds are getting, and it's not covering the tire bill. It's not covering the tire bill. So, you know, getting back to the K&N Pro Series East, you know, even with the joining in with the ARCA Series for 2021, I don't think that's going to help. I think each prior series, the K&N ARCA, is going to have to make so many changes that some of the lower dollar teams are going to say, can't do it. So instead of having 30 cars, which is probably what they anticipate, they're still going to have 15. And that's not good. That's just not good at all.
Well, just to jump back to what you were saying there, one of those things like you were talking about where the back gate and the front gate, they're separate and, you know, they really don't slosh over into one another. It's the same thing with a race team. When I was running my race team, you know, of course, you know, I'm a businessman, so I look at things a little bit differently. So as the money was coming in, I wasn't banking myself on winning that prize money because what am I making? $50, $60 for taking the green flag if I don't finish?
Right.
You know, it was $25, I think, to take the green flag. If I finished okay, I was
Right.
getting $125. If I won, I was walking away with $275. Yeah, that didn't pay the tire bill, and I was putting a set of tires on it every week. So I had to make sure that the sponsors got a good bang for their buck because they were paying me good money, not just for being on the car, but also for me putting the car together and getting it to the track.
Exactly.
So it's a different mindset, and that's one of those things we talk about a lot here. I say that a lot because you need to be a businessman first because you can't be a race car driver if you don't have the car to get to the track. You know, so you have to be a businessman first and think about this in a totally different light. You know, and it's you know, a race car driver is driven by getting the equipment to win the race. That's what they're driven by. And get that car to the track, win that race. Get that car to the track, win that race. That's not necessarily the case. No. Sometimes having a big crash on the front straightaway where you get a lot of TV time, not a bad thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's bad, but it's not that bad.
Right. I ran in...
Especially if you're running in the back.
Yeah. 1995. I'm in the World Championship Figure 8 race. I flew up from Atlanta. I was working in Atlanta, Georgia. I flew up for the race, and ESPN2 was covering the event. I had nothing but overheating problems from the get-go. No matter what we did, we were running at 300 degrees. At one point, my guy Murray goes, "How's it looking?" We're on the caution. "No, it's good. It's running about 130 degrees." He goes, "Impossible." I'm telling you, that's what it says. Next thing I know, the radiator pops, and I watch it go, 130, 130, 80, 0, 240. It started to go around. That's why the radio blew up. However, I won the pits, drew in the radio. I come back out, and the camera followed me back into the race, and said, "Oh, the 37 that Joe Larson from blah 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 is back on the racetrack." And there was my rear panel, which had a big sponsor on it, who got ESPN2 time. I finished like 24th,
Doesn't matter.
but I got more airtime other than the two guys that were battling for first and second.
Right.
You know, that's what it's, you know. And I remember saying to them, because I had
And
to
if God forbid a million times, you can get airborne and almost take out the flag stand guy, you're going to be replayed every commercial break. Am I wrong?
You're right.
Do you know what I mean? And if you can get the car up on such an angle where you can get 3 or 4 sponsors at one shot, awesome job.
Yeah. Trunk deck, hood.
Absolutely, get all of them.
And part of the top part of the quarter.
Absolutely.
You're in there.
Absolutely.
You're good. You go.
That's right. And every time they play the promos for the race, there's your car up on the wall halfway this way with your 2 big sponsors sticking through.
It's like that guy Wild with the Sports. And you're agony at the feet as he's going on the sneaky dump and he
That's
just
right.
kind of bounced down the edge.
That's correct. Now, if he had a big Gillette sticker on his butt, not to go lightly because I think the guy didn't fare well, but I mean, if he had a big Gillette sticker on his butt, he'd be raking in the money still today.
Without a doubt. Yeah.
You know, which is some of the things you have to think about, which is, you know, we always talked about this, but everybody always thinks that the passenger side of the car faces the grandstands, so that should be the side that's the most expensive. It's not, because when you're up against the wall, nobody can see that. It's the inside of the car that's the most expensive.
And where are the
for
cameramen?
For sides of car.
Where-
The cameramen's are a small tractor on the infield, big tractor on the outside, which is why you want the hood, because they're going to be up higher and they're going to be looking down on the car. So you want the front and the rear deck lid, and the rear of the car would be like a third choice. But then the inside, if you're at a short track where you got the guy following you with the camera on the inside, you know, taking pictures. But that's pictures for newspapers.
Right.
But if you've got, you know, Mr. Video up there in the grandstands looking down on you, it's that hood.
Exactly. And I can remember when I had that big sponsor for Jessica all those years, and his big thing is, don't stand in front of the car from the passenger side when you're in victory lane. Do not. Stand behind it so the sponsors can be seen. And I look
Or
at all
stand
these,
in front of the number of your car.
Exactly. So I watch it. I look at every track from Long Island to California, Canada, Mexico. Guy wins. His crew comes out. You can't even see the car.
Can't even see the car.
You can't even see it. Even when you go to the
And if he's
trucks.
by himself,
Right.
he makes sure that he moves to the side so you can see his number. Who cares?
Who cares? Exactly.
I mean, you're the only guy that cares that your number is 52 because that's when when my father died.
Yeah.
At 52.
Like my 37. It was my girls. March, July.
There you go. But nobody cares. But
Nobody
now
cares.
you're in the front there, and you're on the front side of it, which is where my big sponsor was.
Right.
So I always stay in front of the number.
Stand behind.
Stand behind the number. Or stand up to the back of the car. I always had a small sponsor behind the back number.
Or take a bunch of different shots. I know they don't have time for that. You know, that's why in the top 3 series, it's all about the hats.
Well, because that's all you're seeing. The driver's talking, you put the hat on them, that's worth its
They
weight in
got
gold.
the holder
You
of
never
the
see any
hardware.
car.
No car.
The only time you see the car is when they're pulling away at the end and you see the hood. They come up with the jib and you see the hood on the front and the crew spraying everybody and slapping and tickling everybody.
Or when the
And that's
guy's
it.
jumping on the roof and he damages it, so the fabricator has to put a new roof on.
Right, it's
you
got
know,
to
that
put a
kind
new
of stuff.
on, yeah.
But, you know, well, like I said,
But that's why they stick a Coca-Cola bottle in their hand right away and they do this. Spin it to make sure that the Coca-Cola's facing the right
you
way.
know, Ryan Newman, I don't want to say I'm friends with Ryan Newman, but we've talked numerous of times over the last 15 years, even if not longer. And I said, what's with this Coke? What's the deal with you guys, the Coca-Cola? He goes, well, every time we are seen on TV with a bottle of Coke, we get X number of dollars. And for every sip, we get Y number of dollars. And whoever has the most sips and views at the end of the season gets a big bunch of dollars. So he has a girl, and I'm sure the other ones too, that follow him around with bottles of Coca-Cola
For when he's on TV.
for his TV. And I want to tell you,
When he's
you know,
being
I can't
interviewed.
say, and this is a family show, what he called her, but when I told her that's what he said, she wasn't that happy with him. I said, you're the Coke man? And she going, he said that? How do you know he said it? Because that's what he tells everybody, you know.
Well, there you
And
go.
that's what it's all about.
So it's not new news to you then.
No.
So you should not be upset.
But that's what it's all about. It's all about the sponsors and making the sponsors happy. And I'm going to say NASCAR hurt the K&N Pro Series East when they took this series and changed all the rules way back when it was the Busch North, and it was a bunch of New Englanders and a couple of Long Island guys, and they were racing 20 races a year, making nice money, and it was like the full-fended guys and the modifieds. It was like the old days of Islip Speedway, the figure eights and the modifieds. And all of a sudden, NASCAR came in and changed everything, and changed motors and composite bodies, and before you knew it, guys, the mid-level teams started dropping out. So now what's happened is the top 10 strong teams, the bottom 3 that used to be good are now the bottom of the pack because they have the money, but they don't have what the big teams have up front. So.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think we're close. Yeah, we just got to figure that. We only have a couple minutes. Yeah, I can always tell because the control room smiles.
I can only see the hair.
Yeah.
It's like the Johnny Bravo hair.
Yeah. Well, what happens is, she's been here all day, and she's like, let's end this so we can get out of here.
Yeah, so time to go.
But anyway, so.
Well, we hope you guys had fun.
Yeah, because
we always have. We always have fun. And we try to enlighten a little bit, but again, it's very difficult because race car drivers are race car drivers. They're not business people.
They're not.
But you got to have unless you're funding it yourself and having a blast funding it yourself. It's you got to bring the money in.
And they say,
first
I'm not
and
here for the
foremost.
money. I'm not here for the money. Okay.
You know what? Maybe you're not here for the money, but the money's going to buy you tires and buy you what you wreck and buy you the good stuff, and that's going to make life a lot easier on you.
I think over the years, other than when they peeled me off the wall with a putty knife, I was blessed because I never raced out of my own personal pocket, never. From my first car in 1978 that I bought from Hall of Famer Clay Walston to the last car that I destroyed, and my daughter's cars, and people who drove me, I never raced out of my pocket, and because I treated it like a business first. From day one, when I was 20 years old, driving a figure eight car at Islip Speedway, I said, wait a minute, there's a way to make money here. And you know what? It paid off, and people laughed at me. Oh, I'm not here for the money. Oh, okay. So if I say, here's $1,500, go have a ball racing, you're going to tell me I won't take it? Whoa, that's different.
Right. Well,
Anyway.
nobody's going to grab you by the lapels and give you the money. You have to go out and you have to find them. I wasn't lucky enough to not race out of my pocket because, until I got to a point where I could get enough sponsors, I did race out of my pocket. Enduros I did and things like that. Even though I had sponsors on that car and I would get tires and things, but
Oh, well.
for the most part, it's hard.
Anyway.
It's hard to
Again,
get started.
Thanks a lot, everybody, for joining in, and whether you're in the Facebook Live, the chat room, Jay Slice, always good to see you. Wherever your endeavors are going to be this week, please be safe, please be careful. Give somebody a hug. Tell them you love them, because you never know. You never know.
You never know.
You never know. And
Spend that time.
Spend it. Spend the time. Spend the money. Take the trip, because you know what? You're going to look back and say, wow.
Let Joe buy you a trip. That's what I'm going to do.
Why? Just because I take a trip once a month?
I'm going to spend his money. See, I don't spend my own money to go on
I'm
trips.
running out.
I'm a
running out.
businessman. I spent his money.
I wasn't supposed to live this long. I'm running out. I'm only kidding. Good night, everybody. We love you all. Thank you.
Good night.